Kia ora everybody, this is Jamie Schuster, part of the Bro Movement, a brotherhood in conversation. We're here today with a very, very special person in my life. I've just met him. This is Brother Jeddy Azuma. We're here in Santa Barbara, US of A, and we're here in conversation. So welcome, Jeddy.
Honored to be here, man.
You're literally part of the Bro Movement. You
Yes.
are the Bro Movement, and an integral part of my life, brother, you know. I know we've just met, but the medicine that we've exchanged, I will take forever.
Yeah, likewise, man.
And I know from this time forth there will be much more to follow in terms of empowerment of men and empowerment of humanity on a whole.
Yep.
So how about you tell the beautiful people out there a little bit about your background, where you grew up?
Sure. I grew up in New Jersey, which is on the other side of the states if you're not from around here, right outside New York City. And there's a difference between East Coast and West Coast culture out here. I'm sure it's similar in Australia too.
Absolutely.
And they got the different ways of being. Out there is a lot of armoring. You learn to survive as a young person by, guarding your heart, because it's a very vulnerable thing to speak your truth and put yourself out there. So particularly on the East Coast, it's part of our culture to protect ourselves and put on that machismo and I've got it all figured out, I know what I'm doing, I'm the man. So I figured out how to survive just by being right in the middle of the pack. I wasn't the one that stood out in the front. I wasn't the most popular or the jokester or anything like that. I was the one that was just cruising in the middle. But I also wasn't at the bottom of the heap, getting picked on. I figured out just how to shine enough and hide enough to survive. And so, I always tell that story, especially when we're talking about men and how we are in the world, because there's all different types of strategies. Even if you're the one out in front, that's a strategy for surviving, of hiding what's happening beneath, right? Having a big muscles and just what we were doing down at Muscle Beach this past weekend, the guys who built a big hard exterior to create a sense of safety, or others who escape into their intellect or into fantasy and things like that, or just hiding from that. So I always tell that story because that's my version of how I survived, and played a lot of sports and just did what I consider to be a very normal upbringing. But I didn't have a culture of masculinity to model myself from. Or what I did get was that armoring. Even my father's a very stoic man. I've seen my dad cry twice in his life. And every other moment has just been, the rock, which is also valuable, but that's all I got. So yeah, man, I had to go searching for this, and what you're doing with Bro Movement, I think, is giving voice to how important that is for all men, every single one of us. No one's excluded from that, in my opinion. Yeah.
No, which leads into one of my first questions, and it really has ignited from my involvement with the Call of the Warrior, and it's the redefining of the masculine and what it means to be a man. So, Jeddy, for you, what does it mean to be a man?
I love that, man. On the Rising Man podcast is one of the questions I asked, a version of that, and no one's ever asked me.
We would love to hear, and beautiful people out there, listen.
Yeah, so what I've come to discover in being in hundreds of conversations with men about this very question is that we all have a little bit of a different definition of what it is. So I truly believe that being a man is deciding who we are and who we be, how we want to be in the world. On a base level, it's being of service, being a protector, a provider, someone who creates safe places for all people, women included, but also children and elders and other men. So to be a safe place, and when I say to be a safe place, that means you can tell me anything. I can hold anything for you. It could be the darkest things you have to share or the biggest celebration. I'm there for you. I think that's one of the essential pieces of being a man, and having values and virtues that we live our lives by, a code that can be very unique to different men based on what you value. But one thing that always comes up for me as part of my code is integrity. being a man of your word. And
Yeah.
a mentor of mine tells me that integrity in honor is doing the right thing even when no one's watching, which, you know,
That's spot on. That's spot on. That's
simple.
Spot on. It goes deeper than the face value in front of everybody else.
Yeah, because I can be seen and valued and appreciated for doing the right thing. But when, you know, and I catch myself doing it even in small ways. When, you know, if I'm at somebody's house or something and I go to throw something in the trash can and it bounces off and I'm like, I'm going this way and I'm like, the right thing is go clean it, take care of it, you know?
Yeah.
Even on those levels, in a way that everything matters, we treat everything like it's important.
Yeah.
That's part of it for me.
Yeah.
And that we all get to decide the men that we want to be, but on a base level, it's being of service, contributing, giving to people, not living in this self-referenced, what's in it for me perspective. I think that's more of the boy, the immature masculine, not the bad masculine, just the not yet ready masculine, which is, we know, is not according to age.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And again, segued into my next question.
Uh-huh.
And this really defined a point for me, or a point of difference coming over here. The word toxic masculinity was rising through the questioning and dialogue that I was having with people around Call of the Warrior. So, my brother, what do you see, or how do you define toxic masculinity?
This is a really important topic because it is a word and a phrase that has gotten swept up by this conscious movement and personal development. I don't like it because I don't think it's helpful to label something as toxic. Toxic is poison. Poison kills you.
Yes,
and I don't think that there is any aspect of masculinity that is deadly. It has the capacity to be destructive. But in my framework, my context of thinking, if we are going to categorize any part of masculinity or femininity, any part of our humanity as toxic, then we are creating separation. Because who wants to invite poison into our community? So let's go right to the bottom of the barrel, so to speak. Let's talk about pedophiles. Let's talk about the people who go and shoot up a bunch of people in a church or in a public place. Let's talk about the people who hit their wives. All of these acts that we would deem as despicable, right? Like the worst of the worst. If we can't look at how did we as a people fail those offenders or whoever's doing those actions, if we can't look at our responsibility in that, then we're missing the point. We're not taking responsibility for everybody, all of our actions. That's what we do when we're acting as a family. It's all of us. It's not your fault. It's
that separation,
Right.
And again, oh brother, that's a beautiful explanation or interpretation. And that's acknowledging that separation, that person was sick or whatever, they need help, they need support, whoever they are.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, because that's the genesis of the problem, right? A lot of times these events happen and we imagine, oh, this just happened out of nowhere. This guy went crazy. But no, I mean, it's actually the opposite. It's what did we all do? How were they bullied? How were they not loved as a child? How were they, 99% of the time, there's some level of abuse or absence of a important parental figure or mentor in that individual's life. Because people who are shown love, who are taught discipline, who are given healthy boundaries and given room to express themselves without causing harm to themselves or others, become fine men like yourself, who also has been through a whole bunch of challenging times, right? And all of us, you know, we some of the best people in the world have done some of the most horrific things. They're not bad people. They've just made choices that had something for them to learn. And so I get that it's a higher perspective. I get that, I mean, if someone did something like that to a member of my family, I would have to work through my anger about that, I'm sure. I guarantee it. It's easy to speak from my position, having never had a family member or a really close loved one be the receiver or victim of that type of violence or aggression. So I want to say that because if you're someone who's close to that, it might be harder. But if we can go to an even deeper level of compassion, wisdom, understanding, then what's possible? You know, if we can invite those people back into the family, into the community, then we're all in it together. We're really all in it together.
Absolutely, absolutely, brother.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it really does come down to what I believe each individual's contribution to that collective consciousness or level of unity. That does make a difference. It starts from within, then your family unit or friend, community, whatever, outwards from there. But really, for me, it starts within, you know, acknowledging, knowing thyself. But for me, there's a deeper level of knowing thyself as well. There's also knowing thyself, but all the blood that went before you on a DNA level, acknowledging who your father. There's a deeper level that it's not just yourself, but yourself is actually a collective of all these beings that have been before you.
Well, see, that's important. I think I'm glad you mentioned that, because I also see that as a cause for why we are so confused and disconnected.
Yes.
Is that we forget how we're all part of something greater. That's what we all want. The greatest human suffering comes from the sense of not belonging to something bigger. We all want to belong to something bigger and bring value to that bigger thing. So when we see ourselves as separate from our culture because it wasn't passed on, or it was forgotten or lost or colonized away, right? Or we denied it because we rejected it in our own discovery of ourselves, not being able to connect to our ancestral lineage and our ancestral lines breaks us from this long-standing tradition. But the beautiful part is that we can't forget it. It's in my DNA. The record book of my life and your life is right here on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
And if I want to connect to that and awaken it, it's waiting right there for me. Visiting the homeland that your family came from, to the best of your knowledge. Or just traveling and seeing where that sense of you gets ignited. I know we spoke a little bit about this, how you go to certain places and you feel it. There's a sense, there's a part of you that you may not connect logically to how you are connected to this place, but feeling it on a physical level, on a somatic level, and even just knowing that you're from this earth. Just remembering that we're of this earth, we are of these elements, we are not separate from it, we are connected to it. That's what I believe is what's going to bring us all together. Because seeing each other as separate, looking for delineations and categorizing people into different categories, that pushes us farther apart instead of bringing us closer together.
And that's exactly what happened in the weekend, really. The unity amongst the call of the warrior tribe, I guess now we are brotherhood, that Brother Jeddy facilitated or helped facilitate, and I was part of. That facilitation really moved lives. It moved the masculine, the definition of masculine, and all things around masculinity, the warrior archetype come through as well, and tapping into the inner spirit within that. Wow, I just really blown away by the level of commitment from each brother that participated. I love you all. Go to battle with you fellas any day. Any day, hands down. And I acknowledge them for all the people back home, back in Aotearoa. The sharing and culture, they honoured with full heart. You'd be very proud. If you check out the videos or anything, they're very, very passionate, just full-hearted into learning and doing it right in the correct way. Honouring Te Rauparaha, Ngāti Toa Rangatira, they honoured all of those parts of it in the most impressive way possible. It blew me away multiple times. I just stood back and thought, wow. And that's a testament to you and to the energy that you bring to our raising our collective consciousness, brother. Amazing.
Well, deeply honored to share in that culture and to be able to learn and in a respectful way with reverence. That's always the most important thing, you know. And I'd turn it right back to you as well for the way that you carry your culture with honor, with integrity, because the level of respect we have for a culture is an exact reflection of the one who's carrying it. So the way you carry it and the way you bear it is you call us into that reverence also. And it's important because there's so much wisdom all over the world, and we're truly a global community now. You know, I mean, who knows who's watching this? You could be anywhere in the world watching this right now. And we're literally exchanging cultures because we have the capacity, we have the tools, the technology, the instruments, and also the desire to connect and to understand more. And I think a lot of the boundaries, the perceived boundaries of, well, that's not my culture, so I don't belong, I can't participate, or I don't know if it's appropriate for me to take on, a lot of that is being stripped away because there's a desire in both directions, one to share and another to receive. So there's a lot we could say about the different exchanges we had with the Tongva people here in Los Angeles, with you guys carrying the Maori culture and traditions and some of the other indigenous traditions that we brought into that. So that when we started promoting Call of the Warrior, one of the first things I said was it's a cultural exchange.
Yeah.
And I really saw that come to fruition because every man, I mean, you see the videos and the pictures, it's very diverse. That's a snapshot of the global community. We all look a little different. We look blended and mixed in shapes and sizes and the ways that we speak. And yet, when we haka, it's one.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a lot of goosebump moments here. Te ahua o te tangata. The beauty of the person.
Yes.
Of the people and the person. Yeah, so brother, I could sit here and converse with you for hours upon end. We'll keep it short, we'll keep it tight for now. I acknowledge you as the man you are and the energy that you bring to this beautiful world. This world is a better place with people like you.
I receive that fully, brother.
My brother, I love
Honored to be on here. I love you too. I love you too, man. Appreciate the work that you're doing. And
Take
to
us
all
out.
you out there, let's see. Gentleness. Starting with ourselves first. Gentleness, love, and acceptance. And remembering that everything that we do is for the children. For the children. So let's do our best for them. And the ones that may never know our names, but hopefully they will.
They will.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Blessings.